Hi, my name is Alan Andreas, and welcome to Allenovation. I'm a certified master architect with over 10 years of ServiceNow experience, and today I would like to talk to you about yet another topic of something I didn't know about when I first started out with ServiceNow. So, a couple of weeks ago or so, I recorded another video about a big mistake I made when I first started out and something else I wish I knew when I first started with the platform. So, this video kind of follows in line with that. And what I'm talking about is really this concept of the various project roles and responsibilities that exist within the ServiceNow ecosystem and really honestly in a wider IT responsibility and realm. But this video here is going to kind of break down some of the roles that allow you to understand what else is going on in a project, right? We're going to explore their roles and responsibilities. And then lastly, it's going to give you insight really into possible career paths that you may not have previously known about. This may be something where you're like, oh, wow, I wish I would have known about that role. It might make me go in a different direction, right? Something to that effect. So, to help us understand everything a bit better, I've broken the roles into four different categories. We're going to start with leadership, cross functional, technical roles, and lastly, support. And so this is going to be a four-part video where we walk through each one of these categories in its own effort to talk over the salary estimates involved with the roles, description of them, responsibilities involved as far as their documents and interactions amongst the team and there's client stakeholders and such, and training and certifications. So this is all in an effort to help you understand the different roles, and we'll move on into leadership. We're going to start with what is really an account manager. And so there's the salary kind of listed there. And as you'll see at the bottom on all these slides, this is estimated and based on Glassdoor at the time of this publishing. So don't hold me, personally accountable if you don't get a role with this salary here, but this is just guidelines, general guidelines to help you out. So the role of an account manager really supports the account from a very high level sales and support perspective. They're really ensuring client satisfaction. And the main thing that they're responsible for is account management, right? So you're going to commonly see this in maybe larger partner organizations where they have an account manager that's overseeing an industry, right? Like telecom, finance, something to that effect. That account manager would really be over top of that region, those industries, whatever that may be. And they're really just geared towards client satisfaction and relationship. They're going to be conducting service reviews, and then the documentation is really around client feedback and account plans. And so when we're talking about account plans, these are strategic documents that outline the client goals. So they've talked to the CEO, they're at a very high level. They've talked about the business needs and plans for account growth. So they work on where do we think this account's going to go in a couple of years? Should we put a lot more resources on this? Is this a high priority, low priority, things like that? And then for the feedback, they're going to really take in the surveys that the client fills out, as well as other types of feedback from higher level stakeholders. And this all is boiled down to inform service improvements, things that the team could change, and then maintain that satisfaction for them, right? So the interactions that an account manager is going to have is really at a client executive level. So again, very high level. They're going to be interacting with the sales team, and then they're going to be checking in with the engagement and project manager roles, which we'll kind of get to here in a moment. And so for certifications, they're really just going to kind of stick in the sales realm. There's not many other outside of that we'll probably see. The next role is an engagement manager, and this is considered more of a one tier down from the account manager. And so they're really here to, again, manage the relationship. You're going to see a lot of roles geared in the leadership area, obviously managing that, ensuring that the project is aligned to the customer expectations and business objectives. So they're going to take the input and the information from the account manager, if one exists, and then the engagement manager is really going to start to build a more in the trenches or on the ground client relationship with them. They're going to know not only the executives, but product owners, platform owners from the client perspective. That's usually where the EMs are going to be. They're going to help manage the scope and deliverables, and they're really going to start to do communication of the project status and milestones. So you have your project manager that works on some of this, but really the EM is going to really communicate that best to the client, to the stakeholders there. And so they're going to also handle escalations and conflict resolutions, right? So they are a form of a leadership escalation tier. If the project manager is having a little bit of trouble, they're going to be able to escalate up to the EM, and the EM will kind of jump in and help. And so the documentation is engagement plans and client communications. And so these really look like what the account manager is doing, but they're going to detail the approach and strategies for managing client relationships, and the human aspect of it. This is not necessarily a salesy play person. This is going to be somebody that's here for the human aspect. What are they really trying to get value? What type of value? What are their objectives trying to get out of the platform? And then they're going to make sure that everyone really plays nicely. That's a big thing where, someone has to do it. Right? Somebody has to do it. That's the EM there. And then for client communications, they're going to be documenting all the interactions, the updates shared amongst the team. They're going to really try to manage those expectations that are there. And so they're going to commonly work with, as you guessed it, the account manager, the project manager, client executives, stakeholders, things like that. And they're usually going to have certifications in the PMP, the project management professional area, ITIL, certifications like that. So that is 2 of the leadership roles. And then we do have one more, and this is your project manager. This is going to be the one that most people are aware of when they think of a ServiceNow project. They think, oh, a project manager. So they are going to oversee the entire life cycle of the project. They're going to be ensuring that it meets the project goals, their objectives are met within the scope, the time, the budget. This is your main hero person of the project. And they're going to be doing planning and scheduling, resource allocations. If they need to get more roles, less roles, they're going to be reaching back to their organization or going up to the EM to get more support there. They're going to be handling stakeholder communications. Usually after the meetings are done, the BA will kind of send a recap out maybe to the PM. The PM will send that out, or they may end up doing it themselves. And then they're really going to be doing reporting and status updates. They're going to be really down into the trenches. And as far as their documentation, we're talking about a project plan. So when we talk about a project plan, we're talking about this is a document that outlines the objectives, the timelines, the resources, the key milestones, every little piece along the way. That's what's in this project plan. Some of them have been, I've seen them very detailed where they're down to what are we doing this week? What are we doing the 5th week? What are we doing the 10th week? Some are more monthly based. Some are ServiceNow project phase based, like what are we doing during the initial phase, then the deliver phase, then the transition phase, then the closure phase. That's, could be any way that you'll see that. And then they're also going to be sending progress reports, right? So these progress reports summarize the current status, achievements that the team has made. Hey, we're now at 50% of the way. We've got a lot of things going on. There's no blockers. There's no issues going on. And they're going to go from there. And then for the last piece here, you're going to see this throughout your time in the ServiceNow realm some people say RIDIC, some say RIDAC, but basically it's an acronym that stands for risks, issues, decisions, actions, and changes. So this is basically the project manager is going to be capturing any risks that the team has brought up or they find themselves. They're going to be bringing up any sort of issues that are there, what were decisions based on those risks and issues, what actions actually took place, which is different than the decision. The decision is what are you going to do? But then the action is, no, we actually did do this thing. We may talk about it, theory, craft, whatever, but action is actually doing it. And then lastly is the change. Now the action happened, but then what change request did this do? What needed to be put in to actually make this happen? You can decide on the action, you can do the action, but what change did this do? That's another piece of it. And then as far as the project manager and what their interactions are, this is going to be really everybody, right? This is everybody on the team, and also the account manager and the engagement manager, and of course the client stakeholders. Again, you're going to see PMP and ITIL. So here I've created what I'm calling a project team organizational chart, and it will snap in each one of the role sets categories into this to build out a bigger org chart here in a little bit. But for this first part of the video, the leadership roles have your account manager, your engagement manager, and your project manager all kind of falling in line with a dotted line down to your project manager, as the account manager may talk with them directly, or the PM may end up talking right to the account manager. But again, the account manager is right at the top there because frankly, it is their account, it's their industry, it's their region. If one does exist, they are going to be kind of considered at the top for the project team organizational chart. So that's it for part one. Join us for part two, where we get into the next category.